Fall Guys is the Battle Royale the world needs right now. It's cute, hilarious, and most importantly, extremely fun. Fall Guys might remind you of Takeshi's Castle or Wipeout. You are dropped into a map with 59 other players and will race through obstacle courses in hopes of being the final Fall Guy or Fall Gal remaining. You will compete through several elimination rounds and random encounters, each with their own ways of challenging you. In this video, we will cover all the basics you will need to grab your first victory. There are already over 20 maps you'll play in Fall Guys. Some come in both team and solo variations, while others are meant for smaller teams, so you only see them as you near the end of a match. The controls are simple. Run at full speed always, jump over obstacles, jump and dive to cover more ground. If you fall from too high of a height, you will be knocked down. If the slope you are on is too steep, you will slide off. Colliding with others will knock you down as well. And lastly, use your grab to sabotage other players and engage in some mechanics. Now let's walk through each of the maps and include tips for great success. The Whirlygig is a race through spinning windmills, bars, and jump gaps. The first real challenge is getting over what I call the butter sticks. You'll want to jump carefully here, as this is where players start to fall behind on this map. Next, make it through a series of windmills, each with their own speed of rotation. When you hit this three-way fork, left and right are your safe options, while the middle is the fastest to the finish but is unforgiving. And I always recommend aiming at the left side of the final windmill here, as you have less space to land than it seems. Seesaw can quickly become a hot mess. The further ahead of the pack you are, the easier the map is, which means that slow and steady wins the race here. If you fall behind, be wary of seesaws getting stalled out. Drop distance and the slope of the seesaw you are landing on matters, so I recommend simply dropping to the next seesaw instead of jumping for these reasons. It may save you from sliding off or falling behind. And generally, taking your time to avoid costly mistakes on seesaw is worth it. Many players get stuck in cycles of falling off repeatedly and never finish, so qualification spots can remain open for a long time. Dizzy Heights is loaded with spinning platforms. The easiest way to move through these is to let the spin rotation take you forward, even if it means moving back slightly. There are some shortcuts here, but if you get stuck running against the rotation, you will slow and fall behind. DoorDash has randomness built into it. You are presented with a series of doors and need to figure out which ones are real and which ones are fake by jumping into them. If you're up front in the mob, I recommend simply throwing yourself at the nearest door. Waiting for a path to open where you're in the front means you won't gain much ground, and you miss out on potentially getting a lead if the door you chose was fake. If there's a dog pile in one of the openings, diving forward will sometimes let you crowd surf through the gate instead of being knocked backwards. Gate Crash is your quintessential platform gate puzzle. Gates go up and down, and your goal is to race to the finish. A simple way to plan your movement here is to aim at a gate that is currently up, so that when you arrive to the gate, it will be lowered. Players tend to do the opposite at first and look for an opening and will get blocked when they reach it. Tail Tag is a game where a subset of players will start with a tail, and the goal is to have a tail when the timer runs out. Running up the backside of someone with a tail and grabbing them will take the tail from them. Tail Tag comes in both solo and team versions. Hiding under the spinning hammer can give you a brief reprieve. Using the conveyor belts to rush around the inner arena can be useful as well. My favorite move here is the 180 jump juke. Since you have to be grabbed from behind to lose your tail, right as someone reaches you to take your tail away, you turn around and jump the opposite direction. They may still grab you, but you may keep your tail because you're facing a different direction. Rollout has you running on top of rotating cylinders with various obstacles. You can get cheeky here and grab folks as they transition over to a new roller in hopes of knocking them off. And just for reference, here is how far you can go down the rollers before you fall. It's actually further than you think. Hoopsie Daisy is a frantic rush. Your goal here is to jump through hoops to earn points for your team. I found it best to pick a quadrant and camp it, as generally running around and chasing hoops can sometimes mean you get none. Also keep an eye out for the golden spinning rings, as they are worth the most. Egg Scramble spawns a bunch of eggs in the middle of the map. Grab them and carry them to your team's basket and aim to have the most eggs by the end of the timer. I've had success focusing on teamwork in this mode. In the beginning, get as many eggs to your side as you can while there are many to grab. Golden eggs are worth the most and should be fought over. Once all the eggs are distributed, you have two choices. Either go on offense or try to defend your basket. You'll want at least some defenders for your team, or you'll end up losing all your eggs really quickly. If you're on offense, I love throwing as many eggs out of the basket as I can without leaving the basket. Remember, you qualify if you aren't the team with the least amount of eggs. So even if the eggs you're throwing get picked up by the third team, you can still qualify. And there is no honor code in the wasteland of Fall Guys, so ganging up on one team and keeping their eggs down to ensure they disqualify works wonders. You can also use the spinning hammers to launch eggs a far distance. In Block Party, you will avoid oncoming blocks. The tough parts of this map can be when you have to jump over the low barriers. I recommend trying to aim at where you will land rather than just jumping when the low barrier comes your way. This is because if you collide with another player in the air or on your way down, you can be knocked down and thrown off the map. So having a good, safe landing spot is key. If you want to be a true Fall Guy or Fall Gal, you can try to grab and throw others off the map. Hoarders has your team attempting to hold on to massive soccer balls. Once you have a ball, try to push it to the back of your base. The ramps up front will make it easier to defend from thieves. Try to hit the balls at an angle if you know someone is going to contest you. This way it may still go past them. As with all 3 team modes, it can be effective to just get 3 balls and defend. Or pick on the weakest team to ensure they get eliminated rather than your team. Perfect match is simple, but there's nuance to it. You will be shown the tiles under your feet before they are hidden. After the timer is up, a single tile will be shown to you on the floating screens, and you must stand on the matching tile to avoid falling off. Grabbing others to stay on a tile can be useful when there's a dog pile, and you can also try to sabotage by grabbing and throwing others off. My favorite trick here is to take advantage of the fact that some players don't even look at the tiles. They just go where the crowd goes. So since you're smarter than that, you can go and stand confidently on the wrong tile, lure other players to it, and then move to the correct tile at the last second. Slime Climb is a race to the top without touching the slime. You can skip over barriers by jumping or by using the bouncy Doritos. For any wrecking ball, if you think you're going to be hit, turn around and slow your movement speed to prevent yourself from being thrown off. Rock and Roll, your team will push a ball from start to finish. It's useful to always have someone driving the ball forward, and if there are enough players, you can throw random dives into it to speed it up. Be careful of the first hump and guide it around this turn, which is where a lot of teams get stuck. Once you reach the end, you can sabotage the enemy teams and prevent their balls from reaching the end point. Jump Club will be avoiding 2 spinning bars that get faster over time. If you have to choose, fear the lower bar more than the upper bar, as the lower bar is almost always a knockout if you get tripped up. Fall Ball is seriously tough. You will need coordination to win this one. It's good to have 1 or 2 players playing either safety or goalie to prevent runaway balls from scoring on you. The best time to hit a ball I've found is as it's falling, since you can get underneath it and get more air. I've also found that jumping the instant the ball hits you gets more distance than jumping into the ball, if that makes sense. In the mode Jinxed, you want to avoid being infected, but if you are infected, you want to infect as many enemy players as possible. At all costs, the pit in the middle of the map should be avoided, as players get infected the easiest here. However, you can jump over the gap to escape pursuers. You can also use the spinning platforms to try and get some extra momentum and cut players off to infect them or avoid infection. You can also launch yourself with the wrecking balls to create some distance, though this is true on any maps that have wrecking balls and hammers. In Tiptoe, you must reach the other side of this sea of tiles. Some of them are fake and will cause you to fall. Some are real and can be walked on. And if you're up front, just like DoorDash, I recommend just jumping out and testing the tiles immediately and not wasting much time waiting. There will be much hesitation along the ride, as players want to avoid falling later, so if you fall right away, it's not going to cost you much. Who knows, you may get lucky and find one immediately. Fruit Chute throws fruit at you as you run up a reverse conveyor belt. You can use the side pockets to deflect oncoming fruit depending on where you are on the conveyor belts, and as you get better at this mode, you can grab and throw players into oncoming fruit as well. In Hit Parade, you'll find many ways to fail. First obstacle gives you 2 choices. Either try to run along the rollers up top, which is the fastest path, but some players who aren't confident they will make it will simply jump down below immediately. Avoid stalling out the rotating panels by going in the same direction they are moving, and on the last hill climb, you can use the bounciness of the donut stacks to your advantage to launch yourself forward. Hexagon has disappearing hexagon tiles. You can either go on the offensive here and try to make giant gaps in the lower levels early so people fall down further, or buy time by jumping from tile to tile slowly. Be cautious of diving in Hexagon as you won't have much time to get up and recover. And lastly, Fall Mountain is a common ending map. Fly through the level and climb the last platform, then jump and use your grab to gain the crown and get your victory. The far sides can be an easy way to get to the end as long as they aren't crowded or being pelted with balls. Which map is your favorite in Fall Guys? Let me know in the comment section down below. Thanks so much for tuning in today. I hope you guys enjoy Fall Guys as much as I have, and I'll see you in the next one.